Greetings, everyone. Good to have you again at our podcast channel, Nigeria Unfiltered. Once again, I want to appreciate you for your good works, for ensuring that you get us committed on our toes to bringing up news, information that will be beneficial to everyone, all and sundry in Nigeria and in Africa at large. And here is we saying that we won't disappoint you and we are committed to give you unfiltered information and news that affects Nigeria and by extension Africa. Okay, today I like to introduce you to a series, and we're going to be looking at historical antecedents of Nigeria. It's going to be the Nigerian history, and it's going to be running in series. So today we will be looking at the background of Nigerian history, and we touch one of the major regions regarding to their history, that is the Hausa-Fulani emirate. Okay, let me start by this. History is the roots of politics and governance. Governance is the fruits of history. History and governance or government moves pari passu. They are like two Siamese twins. You can't separate one from the other. They move side by side. Why history laid the foundation of present government? Present government is the result of history. Putting it in a different way, history is government of the past. Government is history of the now. With this, I welcome you to the history of Nigeria. And we're going to be looking at the historical events that took place before the coming of the white man, that is, before the colonial era. A lot of news all over, a lot of stories, and there's a particular theory known as the Hamitic hypothesis. And this Hamitic hypothesis is coined, to favor the Western world. That is, that there is nothing like a culture, there is nothing like a history of Nigeria and Africa at large. And here we are telling you that the Hamitic hypothesis is wrong. The Hamitic hypothesis is a fallacy. We have history, we have documented informations, documented stories of our culture in Nigeria and Africa at large. Now let me start with this. According to the Black American historian James Baldwin, history is needed to chart the course for the present and the future. More so, Professor Shinalumogu Ashebe clearly succinct, until the lion learns to tell his own story, the hunter will keep taking the glory. Looking at the Nigerian society with special reference to the Hausa-Fulani, before I go further, I'd like you to know that Nigeria is an ethnic, pluralist society and culturally diverse society. We comprised over 400 ethnic groups in this country, and of course we are culturally diverse. That aside, this our pluralistic nature helps us to experience uneven development. I come again. The fact that we are ethnically pluralistic and culturally diverse as a people is not to our disadvantage. It is to our advantage. That is, it enables us as a people to have different options, different qualities, different idiosyncrasies coming together to further sharpening and enforcing our growth in the scheme of things. As a state, we have three major ethnic groups. That is, we have the Hausa, we have the Yorubas, we have the Igbos. Of course, we have other ethnic groups that cut across the 6 regions in Nigeria. That is the Northwest, their ethnic groups, the North Central, and the Northeast. Talking about the Southwest, the Southeast, and the South-South. There are other ethnic groups like the Urobos, the Benin, the Ijos, Ishakiris, Ibibio, Efik, etc., etc. Like I said, this first series on this episode will be focusing on the Hausa-Fulani Emirate. Now let's take you back to history. The Hausa-Fulani Emirate started as long as the 16th century. Of course, there are stories before then, but we just want to be specific so that we'll be precise with our information. And the present Hausa society, they trace their history to the prince of Baghdad named Bayajidda. Bayajidda was the son of the famous king Abuyaziddu. Abuyaziddu, being the king of Baghdad, garnering, emitting different loyalty, affluence, influence. The son, of course, enjoyed such benefit. Traveled all the way to Africa. And when he came to Africa, he got to a place called Daura. And of course, Daura is present-day Katsina State. In Daura, there happened to be a particular stream, and that stream is a source of their water. That is a source of water. Anything water can do, it was from that stream. And coincidentally, unfortunately, or what have you, there was another big snake, a python snake, that terrorized this community. And history has it that this python snake on a particular day went towards that stream, to the stream, and covered the stream. And this snake is so dreaded and scary. Of course, Bayajidda came in that situation, and he was able to kill the snake. In an attempt to reward him, the Emir of Daura gave Bayajidda his daughter to marry. And Bayajidda, of course, impregnated that lady, and they gave birth to a son called Bao. Bao in turn gave birth to 7 boys, and these boys are known as the Hausa Banque. That is, they are the 7 legitimate states of Hausa. They comprise of Biram, Daura, Gobe, Kanu, Katsina, Ranu, and Zaira. I come again. Biram, Daura, Gobe, Kanu, Katsina, Ranu, and Zaria. These are the 7 legitimate states of Hausa. They are known as the Hausa Banque. Moving on, Bayajidda went to a place called Gwari, and he saw a slave girl, impregnated that lady, and that union, that intercourse produced a child, which later gave birth to 7 boys. And these 7 boys are known as the Banza Banque. Banza Banque, that is the 7 illegitimate society of Hausa. And they comprise of Zamfara, Kebbi, Yauri, Gwari, Nupe, Jukun, and Yoruba. I repeat, Zamfara, Kebbi, Yauri, Gwari, Nupe, Jukun, and Yoruba. So that is the beginning of the Hausa states. Okay, let's look at the Hausa-Fulani Emirate itself. Now, the Hausa-Fulani Emirate is structured in a cephalous way. Cephalous, that is, it is highly centralized and structured. Everything is falling in place in the Hausa society, and this is the reason you will learn to understand why indirect rule was first introduced in this emirate in 1914, and it was scored to be 100% successful. Now let's go to where we are. The emirate system is headed by the emir. I like to know that the emir enjoys absolute monarchical power. That is, he controls both the spiritual and the political structure of the society. It is highly premised on taxation. That is, the Hausa people, they are trained and they are used to giving tax, tribute. That was why indirect rule, which is focused on taxation, thrived perfectly in this society. That said, there are other administrators that work alongside the emir to ensure that there is a seamless administration. And the prime minister of the emirate is known as the Waziri. Waziri is the prime minister of the Hausa-Fulani Emirate. We also have other key officers like the Galadima. Galadima is like the FCT minister, the one in charge of administration. The other key players, we have the minister of we have the police head, Dongari. We have the head of farmers, head of butchers, Sakin Fade, Sakin Powa, and other key officers. Now, the Hausa society is well structured and organized. Moving forward, this particular society experienced what we call a revolution. There was a revolution in the 19th century, and this revolution brought about a new administration. It was led by Uthman Dan Fodio. History has it that Dan Fodio and the Fulanis migrated from Niger, Jalon Island, and they moved to where you have Hausa states now. What did Dan Fodio do alongside his co-travelers? He was bent on, doing a purgatory, revolutionizing the society, the structure, because it felt that it was filled with nepotism, corruption, and ineptitude. And to cut long story short, Dan Fodio started a jihad in 1804 and ended in 1809, and that jihad brought about a new structure, and the headquarter of that jihad of the Hausa-Fulani Emirate was stationed in Sokoto. Hence, the caliphate is headquartered in Sokoto. So the Sultan of Sokoto, or the Sadana of Sokoto, is the political and spiritual head of the Hausa-Fulani. And I like to know that Hausa-Fulani society is predominantly Muslim. They are Islamic people, they are predominantly Islamic religion. So the emir is the spiritual and political head. And also, Dan Fodio was able to also put in place another structure in Gwandu. That was why years later, after his death, his son Muhammad became the head of the Sokoto Caliphate, while his brother Abdullahi became the head of the Gwandu Caliphate. So I like to know that the Hausa society is one of the oldest in the history of Nigeria, and they are loving people. It comprises of the Hausa and the Fulani. The Fulani are basically pastoralists. They are headsmen. They move from place to place, rear animals, and that is their basic lifestyle. While the Hausa on their end, they are basically farmers. They are agrarian society. They are trained to be loyal to a cause. They are very loyal people, and they are very united. This particular group of persons, they are so united to a fault. They love themselves. They can unitedly fight against an intruder. And I love that about the Hausa people. So, thank you very much. This is all about the first series of this episode. Remember, we are dealing on the history of Nigeria. If you find this content educative, expository enough, I would like you not to be stingy or selfish. Kindly engage. Share across borders. Share with your friends, loved ones, and what have you. Let this information trend. We appreciate your support, and we are committed and we are loyal. Once again, my name is Shalom Ufoma Erude, your host and presenter. Till when next we see, here is me telling you, bye.